This course is going to demonstrate how you can take the amazing power of the Reloom components library and AI wireframe generator with Webflow, which is just a staple for so many web designers out there, and literally how you can get 90% of the way to launching a marketing site for your SaaS app, hosting it on Webflow, using components from Reloom. You can do that in like 10 minutes. That's what this video is going to demonstrate. But before I launch into that, I thought it's worth just considering other options. So this is based off my personal experience as someone who's been using WordPress for over a decade. I still work with clients that I met over 10 years ago, and I still manage almost on a day-to-day basis WordPress sites. And I choose and sometimes do continue to choose WordPress. One, because it is really customizable and it's really flexible. WordPress is open source software that you can install on basically any server that you rent under the sun. There's a certain amount of technical knowledge in some instances, others not so much. You just literally click a button and the web host will install WordPress for you and you're going. And it allows you to have that flexibility. For example, if your web host is particularly slow, or you're not happy, or maybe your business even decides to, you're based in the UK, but you decide actually most of your customers are in the US, you can package up your WordPress site, take it to a different web host, deploy it on their server, and within about half an hour or so, you're good to go. Now, if you do decide to go down the WordPress route, I would say the best web page builder to use is called Elementor. Elementor is the giant in the space, and it's simple, easy to use, it's drag and drop, but there is something to weigh up there, which is how much flexibility do you need? In many kind of web design tools, you either get a complete blank canvas where you build up every element. So for example, here there's a grid. Have all the borders, has all the padding, indentation in that grid been set? Well, no, not with Elementor. It's just been dragged and dropped in. You can modify some things in the style panel. You can apply your own custom CSS, but it is going to be super quick to get something going. But if you want to really modify it in the minute detail, then you'll find that you're actually working against it. Going kind of back up the tree of drag and drop, the ability to achieve a really simple design in a very short amount of time, but with limited flexibility for most users. Squarespace is also worth considering. I've managed Squarespace sites over the years, and the main reason that I've gone with Squarespace is that I've been working with a client who just wants to be able to go in, make changes, and my main concern has been that they can't go ahead and make changes which are going to ruin the design. Squarespace's strength is that in terms of like putting odd font colors and ruining the design that me as a web designer I spent ages trying to get right for my client, Squarespace limits that, stops your client from doing that. But as someone who's building a website for their SaaS product, you may find that Squarespace is too limiting. Now, Framer feels like the new kid on the block, and Framer certainly has got many similarities to Webflow. In fact, I would say that Framer's strongest strength is if we go ahead and resources and we go to the marketplace. Now, Webflow's got a marketplace. You can buy themes for Elementor, but I'd say that you can see the creative global community is putting a lot of effort into Framer at the moment. And also I've noticed, come across my newsfeed in recent weeks, Framer is the place that people are showing off animations. Let's pick one of these just as an example. Let's preview this site. Preview. I mean, just isn't that gorgeous? Like if you were setting up a website for a restaurant or a cafe, you could import this theme, you could make changes for like an hour, and then basically you're good to go. Now, ultimately, I didn't decide to use Framer for Planet No Code, although I really wanted to. I ended up using Webflow. And that's two reasons mainly. First reason is that Webflow is just much more established, and I don't think Framer's going anywhere, but Webflow has got a strong foundation and a strong history. It's been the go-to tool for many web designers for over a decade, I believe. And the second point links into that, which is I needed to be able to build a membership site for Planet No Code. And so I had to find some software, some plugins that would work in order for me to add in membership features like sign in, that sort of thing. They were available for Framer, but again, there wasn't that sense of it being so established. And I wanted a solution that I felt like I could really trust. So I went with Webflow. One thing I'm going to add, though, is like I say, I started off with WordPress, and I made a decision earlier this year to migrate the Planet No Code site from WordPress to Webflow. And my main reason for that was what I'd say is the biggest disadvantage of WordPress, which is, as someone who isn't a developer, I can't write plugins with PHP or anything like that. When I want to add a feature to my site, I have to add in a plugin. And let's just say that the plugin directory on the Planet No Code site got vast, and the impact of that, amongst other things, is that the page load speed really began to tank. It really began to suck. And I installed extra plugins that claim to boost the effectiveness of the cache or compression, would do certain things with the image files. I ended up sinking hours into it and really feeling like I wasn't making any massive improvements. Then I began to build a mock-up in Webflow, and Webflow just takes care of all of that side of things because you're not actually managing a server. You are therefore entrusting Webflow with the delivery of all of your assets. You use their content delivery network to accelerate, the fact that you're uploading your logo in the UK, but you want it to download very quickly for someone in Australia. Webflow is just doing all of that behind the scenes. And just one other point. I got so frustrated I wasn't using Elementor, I was using a different page builder, which I'm quite fond of, but I was just finding that when I wanted to make a change to my site with WordPress, that I couldn't just click save, that there was a continuous stream of knock-on impacts. It just made making even the small change, adding a page in, it took me far longer than I wanted. So here I am arriving at the point where I'm endorsing Webflow. I am obsessed with Webflow. I've actually really enjoyed building the Planet No Code site with Webflow. And in this mini course, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can build a Webflow site in literally 10 minutes using AI and using the Reloom components library.